Hey everybody, this is Eric Brown and welcome back to the Best of Los Angeles, where we share with you really cool local businesses here in the LA area and what makes them unique and successful. So I've got a really cool treat today. We're going to talk to my friend Brian, who's on the screen with us today, and his company Hard G Inc. So you might ask, what's Hard G? And that's a great opportunity for me to just turn it over to Brian. So Brian, take it away.
I will take it away. So my company is Hard G Inc. We're a film, television, and theatrical production company. It comes from my wife's name, which is Gina. And for many, many years, everybody would say, your name is what? And she'd say it's Gina. It's like Gina, but with a hard G. And so we became Hard G Productions, and we've been Hard G Productions since 1988 here in Los Angeles. We've been doing it for a long time, and having a great time doing it.
That's phenomenal. So with that amount of time under your belt, tell us a little bit about what you've seen, not only maybe in the transition of your business, but the
Mhm.
transition in the industry.
The industry has, particularly in the last probably 4 or 5 years, but even before COVID, but exacerbated by COVID, has changed significantly. One of the huge changes has been the streaming services. So when Netflix went to streaming, and then Hulu followed suit, and then you had Max now, all the different streaming services. They started to kind of chip away at the industry in terms of their hold. When COVID hit, they became the big dogs in the industry, and no longer was it Universal, Sony, Columbia Pictures, TriStar. It was the Netflixes, the Amazons, the Hulus, the Apple, that really kind of picked up where the old studios used to be, and it's caused a lot of chaos. I'm sure Eric, right now, and of course this is going to put a timestamp on us, but at the moment the Writers Guild is on strike, and as a member of the Writers Guild, that's why my hands are here and not on the typewriter. But typewriter, do people have typewriters anymore? But anyway, we'll forget about that. Forget that. I just aged myself out. But the right now, Writers Guild is out on strike, partly because the way that the streaming services are moving, and because the way that the industry is going. Used to be that when you would do a television series, you'd have 24 episodes, 23 episodes through a season, and then you would have reruns of those episodes. And if you were a writer on those shows, you were making pretty good living. Now they're doing 8 episodes without repeats. They're going to streaming where the fees are less. And a lot of writers are into, okay, well, I got to go to my job as an Uber driver. I'll see you guys later. And they're having to get in the car and, tool around town. So it's creating issues for the writers. And that's one of the reasons we're out. The other reason is because of AI. Artificial intelligence is a threat to not just us, but to a lot of industries, where, if they're a tool, fantastic, let's use it, bring it on. But if it's going to replace people, we've got a problem. So that's one of the reasons the Writers Guild is out. And that's one of the major changes that's happening in the industry this moment, right now, as we're speaking. The other thing that happened was when COVID came upon us, there was a kind of a shrinking of the industry. Everything stopped for a while. Things are slowly coming back, but the way they're coming back is it's really widened the chasm between the haves and the have-nots. And what I mean by that is you're either got a little piece of the independent world and it's staying tiny, or you're making movies for $150 million and above. And in the middle is this kind of gray area, and nobody knows exactly where those films can live and where they can breathe. And Netflix and the studios, they're interested in doing a series of the Lord of the Rings prequel. They're interested in doing big Disney is doing all of the Marvel IP. So big IP, big stars, big names, and big money. And that leaves a lot of the people that are the everyday Joes kind of out in the cold. So we're working real hard to try and keep a toehold in the industry, and it's going to happen. It's just a question of where are those people going to fit in.
Well, and that is a great segue for a question that you made me think of. And that is, so how has Hard G kind of rolled with these punches that have happened from streaming and writers and the things that will evolve with AI? Tell me about the transition of the company and how you continue to add value to your customer base.
Well, thank you for asking that. So one of the things that happened is, during COVID, and again, that was kind of a real watermark moment for the industry and for individuals. Initially, when COVID hit, there were no productions being made. And if you were a writer, you're a director, you're an actor, you were sitting there going, okay, well, what do I do now? How do I pay my rent? How do I feed myself? I'm very fortunate. My wife is an actress. She's successful. She's on a series right now, if I can plug it, called Dave, which is on Hulu and FXX. Very funny show. She plays Dave's mom, and she's wonderful in the show. And I personally, I went, okay, how do I keep the creative juices flowing? I'm not going to be shooting a film right now. Do I write another screenplay knowing that it may be 2 years, 3 years, who knows how long till production's back? So I took one of my screenplays and I expanded it into a novel and then published the novel. Everybody's sitting at home, everybody's reading, So that was my move. A lot of people, had to figure it out other ways. One of the things that happening is people under these kind of conditions, they start to look at how do I prepare for when this ends? What do I do to kind of stockpile my acorns? What can I do to maximize my income today? Those are the kind of things that as an individual, when you're stuck with this kind of like adversity, is you look to what are the options now? And a lot of people became creative. They started doing web series. They started doing a podcast. They started doing webinars. Whatever they could do to start kind of keep their hand in creatively, but also potentially bring in some income and prepare for, okay, it's done. Now what do we do? Okay, I've prepared myself. I've got content, or I've got a script, or I've been getting my face and my name out there as an actor. Somehow I'm now ready, now that the industry is starting to go back up. I hope that answered that. I think that
Yeah,
answered.
yeah, it's interesting how all of these external variables will affect any industry. In
Yeah,
my world of real estate, the pandemic obviously
sure.
played a huge role, and AI is now coming into the picture.
Yeah,
Nowhere near the same as it would affect writers, but it's now a common piece of our everyday conversation in real estate.
sure.
The greater global economy and what that's done with interest rates and inflation, that totally affects. And so
Yeah.
we're, as real estate professionals, constantly having to reinvent to be able to provide the right information and resources and services for our clientele.
Yeah.
So what type of client or target market does Hard G work with, or as we're transitioning, want to work with in the future?
In terms of what other companies we're looking for, what kind of
Sure.
industries?
Yeah, as we're kind of rolling forward, what
Yeah.
other folks would you collaborate with, work with, service, et cetera?
Yeah, let me kind of back up a little bit and tell you a little bit about what our company is and isn't. First of all, it's my wife and I. We are the company, but I work as primarily the kind of creative force behind it, and I wear many hats. So I'm a producer, I'm a writer, I'm a director, and I do everything from line producing, which means I'll do budgets, I'll do pitch decks, I'll put together presentations for film and television. One of the things that really takes up most of my time, and this is something that I think as a real estate agent will relate to pretty strongly, is I spend about 95% of my time seeking financing for the film, and then about 5% of the time doing film. And that's really the ratio, because one of the hardest things in any industry is, where's the money? Who's going to put it in? How do I protect that individual and make sure that they're going to get their money out and get, or at least get as much as they can out? And what do I do to maximize their profit? So a lot of the things that I do on a day-to-day basis is I'm looking at, what are the trends in the industry right now? How can I make sure that if I've got a project that it sounds like it's got all of the pieces that are going to make it profitable? What are the areas I can look at in terms of, is there some place where I can go that will help guarantee that my investors are going to see a return? And then I put those together into kind of a blender and come out with a project that usually it's one that I've written or people that I know that have come to me. And then I go out to investors, and that can be everything from groups of high net worth individuals to production entities to debt financing. It's a variety that it's a big puzzle. It's like one of those 1,000 piece puzzles where all the pieces are white. And you sit there and go, okay, oh, let me see if that one fit. No, not that one. So you try and put all those pieces together, and hopefully you come up with enough to make your movie. and you've done enough preparation, you've done the work, and you have the right cast, the right crew. You put together something that is viable, that then goes out in the marketplace and makes money. That's always the plan. I don't think in my 30 plus years, 40 years that I've been doing this, I don't know anybody that's gone into it and gone, yeah, I really want to lose some money. Where can I go to throw a couple of $1 million away? We're all looking to try and bring a profit into the industry, and there are things that you know. I also teach. So I teach screenwriting and I teach film finance for Boston University here in Los Angeles. And one of the things that we look at on both of those is what is the economic sense to it. And there are so many things that a passionate young filmmaker misses often that could help them make a profit and secure their future that they don't do on the first side. And the first side is about, and again, I'm going to relate to you in realty, is marketing. If I can't get my house out to the people that have the money to buy a home, I'm not going to sell that house. It's the same thing with the film industry, where some filmmakers are so passionate about their product, they don't think about what happens after it's done. How do I make sure that there's an audience for this? Is there an audience for it? And if there isn't an audience, or if it's a small audience, am I positioning the budget? Am I positioning the people that I'm bringing to the party to fit into that little niche? There are filmmakers that go, I'm an independent filmmaker. I'll make movies for $50, $100,000. I make 55 to 105, and that's fine. I'll do that 3 times a year. And the rest of the time I'll sell sandwiches on the corner or something. So there are people that are very happy doing that. That's great, but those people know their market, and they know if I go into these 3 theaters, I will have fans. They'll come to see it. They'll pay me this much, or if I do it on this service, they'll give me X number of dollars, and they make their film for that amount. You don't want to make a $100 million movie about a guy who sits in his bedroom looking at his navel. It's probably not. Although if that sells, that was mine. Don't anybody steal my navel contemplating movie. But you know what I mean? It's really important that you understand the marketplace, and that's universal.
And speaking of, my guess is it's probably not the guy in the bedroom looking at his navel. But what do you see for Harji in the coming months or years?
Well, right now I'm focused on, I have a really fun, low budget horror film that I'm working on. It's actually psychological suspense thriller. It's called Before Moonrise, and there is a werewolf twist to it. And it's a real cool film. And this is something, I'm talking about designing something that fits into like a piece of a stone in a building. This is something that was done because we're trying to do something extremely low budget. And I was trying to find something that I could do in a single location with very few actors. And this was the film that I came up with the help of 2 gentlemen that came to me with the basic idea. They came to me with the idea, and I went, okay, I think I understand how to do this. Let's do it. And it's been a great project to work on. We just today secured a letter of intent from distribution, which is important because distribution is the economic side of it. If you don't have that, you're not going to get money back. So in doing that, we now give a little bit of a dangling carrot to the investors to say, hey, look, you will get money back. Can't guarantee how much, can't say what it will be, but that. So we're working on that. I also, can I plug my book?
Please.
So this is my book, Conceptus, and it's a murder mystery with a very strong female detective character. And that was the one that I started with the screenplay, reverse engineered into a novel. Now I want to reverse engineer again back into a movie. So that's one of the other things I'm working on right now. I'm also a gun for hire for some other projects, everything from animation to horror films to television projects and everything in between. So I'm doing a little bit of everything there. And then of course, and then in my spare time, I teach martial arts. So there you go.
But well, like you said, Jack and Jill of all trades between
You gotta be, I do everything but catering. I can't quit.
And
I have to hire somebody.
Yeah. Well, as for anyone that's interested in things, production and writing and teaching, martial arts and screenplays and novels, We're going to pop all of Brian's and Harjee's contact information up here on the screen so everyone can take a look at it. Brian, for those that are watching or pay attention and come across this video, is there any last thing that you'd like to share that you think is important for someone to know based on what we've talked about today?
Yes, a couple of things. You know, one of the things about the entertainment industry, and again, I think there's probably big parallels to realty, is that you have this dream, this idea of what you want out of this world, and you project that into the future, hoping that somebody's going to get that dream. The thing about the entertainment industry that's different from almost any other industry, although again there may be some overlap there, is you don't know when that's going to happen. So the actor who has been studying and struggling, and they're walking down the street and someone says, "Hey kid, you got it, come here," it happens. The same thing happens with the screenwriter, with the director, with the producer. But like most good industries and good people in industries, preparation is essential, and knowing your worth and your value, and being able to have a core sense of self and be able to say, okay, I know what I'm worth, and when the opportunity comes, I will be prepared and I'll be ready. So if you're a writer, you can't call yourself a writer if you don't write. You can't call yourself an actor if you don't act. You can't call yourself a producer if you don't produce. I mean, you can call yourself that. I take that back. You can call yourself that. You won't be considered somebody who's for real if you don't have product, if you don't put things out into the world, and if you don't prepare yourself. So I would say, and it's not, this is not my quote, but luck is nothing more than preparation meeting, timing, and once you're ready, then you'll have success. But that's one of the draws and one of the difficulties of this industry is tomorrow could be the day. And for some people, tomorrow never comes. And there's no real rhyme or reason to it. Talented people leave the city every day. People who are not so talented become millionaires every day. It's just that's the facts of life. But for you as an individual, you have to believe in yourself. You have to continue to work on preparation. You have to be ready when the opportunity comes.
What a great way to end. Brian, thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. As always, folks, this is the Best of LA, where we share cool businesses like Brian's and Harjee's here. Tune in to the next time where we share another local LA business for you. Until then, this is Eric Brown and Brian signing off.